Hi, my name is Jochen Kressin, and I am the co-founder and director of Eliatra, the OpenSearch experts. Did you know that besides being a search engine, OpenSearch is also a vector database, and that you can use its vector capabilities to greatly improve your search results? Let's find out how. For the sake of this demo, I am using the Eliatra OpenSearch distro, EOD, but you can also use a vanilla OpenSearch and OpenSearch dashboards installation. To use the Eliatra OpenSearch distro, head over to eliatra.com, click on Eliatra distro, scroll down until you can see the download button. Since I'm going to use Docker for this demo, I'm going to download the Docker Compose file for the OpenSearch Eliatra distro. I've downloaded the Docker Compose file to a directory on my machine. Let's have a quick look. That's what it should look like. And if you scroll down a little bit, then you can see that for both OpenSearch and OpenSearch dashboards, we're actually using the Eliatra OpenSearch distro Docker images. Now, let's start our containers by typing Docker Compose up. This will give you a 2-node OpenSearch cluster and 1 OpenSearch dashboards instance. As soon as you can see the last message here, HTTP server running at, that means OpenSearch dashboards is up and running. We can also check that everything is up and running by having a look at our Docker desktop application. As you can see, we have 2 OpenSearch nodes and 1 OpenSearch dashboards container up and running. Now, let's log in to OpenSearch dashboards. I'm back in my browser. I'm opening OpenSearch dashboards by accessing localhost on port 5601, which is the default port for OpenSearch dashboards. And since this is a default installation, I'll just use admin to log in, and our OpenSearch dashboards is up and running. I'm going to use the DevTools a lot in this demo, and as you can see, I already prepared all the commands that we are going to use beforehand. Don't worry, you don't need to write anything down. You can just check our 3-part blog post on eliatra.com regarding vector search in OpenSearch. Now, as a first step, I need to enable the machine learning capabilities cluster-wide by changing the settings in my cluster. We're going to tell OpenSearch that machine learning tasks can run on any node in the cluster. We are enabling access control for the models that we're going to download and install in a second. And we enable native memory because we need that for speeding up the embeddings process. Now, I'm just executing the command, and as you can see, everything's fine, and machine learning is enabled on my cluster. As a next step, I'm going to create a so-called model group. A model group is a container where you can load and deploy several different models. In our case, it will be a transformer model. This step is optional, but nevertheless highly recommended, especially if you're using several different models in your cluster. I have now created the model group, and what it gives me back is a model group ID. Because I need that model group ID in subsequent steps, I just copy and paste it here so I can use it later. The next step will actually download the transformer model that we're going to use for generating the vector embeddings. In our case, we're downloading the MS Marco model from Hugging Face, which is a small and pretty fast and efficient sentence transformer model. And of course, it's completely open source. And as you can see, I now need to specify the model group in which I want to place the downloaded MS Marco model. So I just paste our model group ID here and click on Send. What it gives me back is a task ID. Why? Because downloading the model is an asynchronous process, so it's executed in the background by a task. And, again, here, I just save the task ID. And, using the task API, I can check the status of this task that's running in the background. As you can see, it's already completed and our model is downloaded. Same principle here. I get back a model ID, which, again, I will use in subsequent steps. So let's save it here in this comment. As a next step, I need to deploy the model. So I'm going to change the model ID here and click on Send. And again, I get back a task ID because deploying a model runs in the background. Now, what does deploying the model actually mean? Well, It simply means loading the model into memory so OpenSearch is able to use it. Same principle here. Getting back my task ID, and I'm checking the status of the task by accessing the task API. Our model is already deployed and we can start using it. To double check, I can also go to the machine learning section in dashboards. Our model is there and it is loaded and it is responding. And since we enabled machine learning on all nodes in the cluster, I can now access this model on any of the 2 nodes that I have in my cluster. This was the first step of setting up vector search in OpenSearch. Check out the next video in this series, where we ingest demo data and compare lexical search with vector search. See you there.